Hi you guys, welcome to Art with Miss K. So today we're going to do a quick, simple lesson on perspective. And I want you to think for a minute, what does the word perspective mean? It can mean my point of view. The way I see something is this way. It's your opinion. But perspective in drawing or in art is kind of the same thing. It's the way you see something from your perspective, from the way you are looking down a road, down a river, across a mountain, over a hill, even out your window. That is your perspective. That's where you're seeing. Right now I'm on the second floor of my house, so if I were to look out the window, I would be looking down on the cars and the street and the things outside. So we're going to talk about how we can draw a simple drawing in perspective. All right, I have my paper and a few supplies, and we're going to go ahead and do a drawing in perspective that I want you guys to try later on after you watch this. So a lot of times when I do a picture, I kind of like to just maybe really lightly with the pencil make an X in the page just so I can see. And I wasn't super worried about getting it exactly center, exactly right. I just kind of like to see where maybe the center is. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to use this purple line. When we are using perspective, we are always looking at something, and in the distance at our eye level is a line. So maybe this is, if I were standing here, that's where my eyes could see eye level. Maybe I'm in my little pink car driving down the road, and that's my eye level as I'm driving forward. And there is always in the distance a vanishing point. So we're just going to go ahead and put it right in the middle on my eye level. There's my vanishing point. So at eye level, it comes to a point where everything looks like it just vanishes. The roads disappear far in the distance, maybe trees, there's a vanishing point. Or maybe you're going over a hill and there's a point where you just can't see anymore. So let's just pretend that's my vanishing point for now. And if I'm driving down the road it does go straight next to me, but it doesn't just have two straight lines like that. They actually bend into the vanishing point as I'm driving forward. So maybe we just lightly, actually I'll just use my pencil. What if I were just to draw some guiding lines to the corners? Because that's where my vanishing point's all going to the center. So it kind of gives me a little center. So I am driving down this road. Here's my road, and it's going to the vanishing point. Here's the other side of the road, and it's leading to the vanishing point. So these are called vanishing point lines. It's linear perspective to one point, one vanishing point. All right. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind, when things get farther away, like we talked about, they get smaller. But when they're right next to me or closer, they're a lot bigger. So what if driving down this road, there were some telephone poles, for example? So here's the first telephone pole. It's off to the side of the road, and it's a biggie. It's really big. It goes almost off of the page. And sometimes if I were to take a picture, the telephone poles might just go right off the page. We'll just pretend that one's so big, it goes off the page. And then as we go up, as we get closer to the vanishing point below my eye level, things go up on the page. As we get closer to the vanishing point above my eye level, things come down the page. So here's my next phone pole. It's gonna go like that. It's a much shorter phone pole. Maybe we can still see a little bit of the width of it, but this one we can see that it's got the little, that one we can't even see that. Now as we go up the page, our phone pole is going to get higher and down and shorter at the top. There's my phone pole. That one went a little higher and a little lower up the top of the page. And usually phone poles are pretty evenly spaced out. We can't even see them. Now, even though I can't see where this is coming from, there's wires that lead from one telephone pole to the next. Our power in our telephones lines come down them. And it disappears also into the vanishing point. Now, what if I am on this side of the road? There's trees. Usually the biggest tree is going to be right here in front of me. Here's its trunk. It's got lots of branches. We're just going to say this is a big tree, right? And then as they go farther away, it's going to go up the page from this side and down the page there. But one thing that bulkier items that are not, they start to overlap or go behind the thing in front of it. That makes me see that it's also in perspective. It's behind it. This tree is going to be overlapped by that one. In fact, it's even taller, but it's still overlapped. Looks like sheep's hair. There we go. We have trees and they overlap each other. So overlapping is another way to show things are in perspective. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the sky. The sky, the farther away, it's down here. And closer down here, they were bigger because they're close to me. But the sky actually is a dome and it comes over our head. So really, the things that are closer to us are higher on the page. It's almost like the page is coming up into a circle. So the clouds would actually be bigger high on the page. And as I get lower and into the closer to the vanishing point, my clouds get tinier as they get farther away. And even the lines on the road, maybe there's some lines, and as they get farther away, they're just going to be dots. Pretty cool, right? So there's a fun exercise just to try out and teach yourself a little bit more about vanishing point. One more thing that happens, although you can't see it in my black and white picture, is as things get farther away, they get lighter and more gray in color. So maybe my trees right here are really bright and vivid, but as they go away, they're going to lighten up just because there's atmosphere in the air that makes, and as they get smaller, they look a little bit lighter. So just by drawing or coloring your pictures lighter as they get farther away from you, it's going to make them look like they're in perspective. So the clouds would be a little darker, and maybe you'd see the bottom of it, so it would have maybe even a flatter bottom. As you get farther away, they will lighten up also. The sky will be lighter towards the bottom and get darker as it moves up. So could the road. So keep in mind as you put things, as you color things, to lighten them the farther things get away.